Alright guys, this video is on casting a valve spring cage for Ray Fisher. He's a repeat customer of mine, and he is in dire need of this part. And I've had this for quite a while, in his defense. I've had so much going on around here, I just have to keep the squeaky wheel greased. He called me a couple weeks ago saying he's got to have this now. So one of the things I was waiting on was that wax injector that was given to me when I was down at Florida Flywheelers. This box is an injection box with a port right here, and you would inject the injector has a conical nose on it. You would place here, press down, compress, hit the foot pedal, compressed air goes into the melting pot and pushes the wax through here. And this is the one as the bottom, and then this is the top. So after dozens of failed attempts at this with the wax injector, I ended up resorting to something different. Now, if this had worked as planned, I would have been able to remove the wax model from this box, coat it with ceramic slurry, a layer of sand, repeat the process till I build up about 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch thickness all the way around the model, and then from there I would melt the wax out and pour iron in. Well, I couldn't get it out of the box, and I fought this for over a week steadily, trying to get the wax in and then get it out. And it would take hours to get this mess back out of there when it didn't work. Time is of the essence, so I ended up just casting a rubber pattern out of this that I could actually pull out of there. And this is it. This is the rubber piece that I pulled. It came out. I have a little flashing on it, but for the most part, that's what this part is going to look like when it is in iron. Since we couldn't go with the lost wax, we ended up having to resort to making an investment mold. So basically all I did, and you know, we were in such a race for time to get this done, I couldn't waste any time videoing each process of it. So this is a split pattern, and it's half plaster, half sand. Anyway, we're going to have a casting this shape come out of this. So I've already preheated it. I've dried all the moisture out the other day, and we are ready to cast it. I have male keys here, female keys here that correspond with each other to keep it aligned, keep everything clocked right, and have very little, if any, mismatch. So, and I put a line on, yeah, here it is right there, where I'm not scrubbing it together. Now we have two areas. One is going to be for the iron to go in, the other one's going to be for a vent along with just a little bit of a riser, not much at all. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to actually ram a regular sand mold. This is going to be placed in the mold because I need a pouring basin and a place to vent for my riser. I'm going to ram this up in a flask surrounded by sand, and then I'm going to make an additional flask above that. I'll put something over these to stop them, to keep the sand from being rammed down in the holes. Then I'll take the cope off, and I will cut these two holes in my sand on the upper level. So from there I'll be able to cut my pouring basin, and I'll be able to comfortably fill this without trying to hit that tiny little hole there. If in the event there was any moisture still left in here, I won't take a chance of this exploding on me as the iron hits it. It'll be more confined and very compact in that bit of sand. We are going to be ramming this directly on the conveyor, and I guess the lighting is not going to be that good. Come on. That's probably good enough right there. Now I went ahead and taped off this. I'll go ahead and put tape around the two halves just to make sure they don't separate on us while we're ramming this up. Just got to make sure I don't hit this plaster. I probably should have torched this. It's really humid today. We got quite a bit of rain. Now I'm not going to be picking the drag up and doing anything with it, because our cavity is already there, right? What's inside the plaster. And I'm hitting it anyway. Make sure I can see that. I'll come around to this side. That way I'm not in the light. Now I'm not worried about scratching it between layers because, as I said, the drag is not going to be picked up. It isn't going to delaminate. I just want to make sure I clear this. Stay away from the edges best I can. I'm going to roll this down just a little bit and get it a little better, give it a little more rigid surface. I got a roller missing here in order to put my lift under it to scoop the pallets up, and this seems to be a lot more rigid and solid now. Push that over to the side as I slick this down. I'll get out of your light. Now, I don't care about anything other than clearing this port and that port right there. So, if this wants to slick over the plaster, I don't care, because this is not coming out. It's there to stay. The only reason I'm doing this is to give it a good pouring basin. Good enough. Once we do that, I'm going to peel the tape off. We'll drop this over it. The only reason I'm using the screen is I do not want to beat that parting dust out of the way. After I get a coat of sand on the parting dust, I can just dump it in there. I'm going to do away with this, and I'll use the regular rammer on this coat because I got to pull this coat off. And the rammer, the floor rammer, I needed to dry it out. So we're going to rough this up because I am going to be pulling the top part off. I'm going to take this off, then I'm going to come back and I'm going to peel that tape off, and then we'll come back over to the cope. So we didn't get any trash down in there. You can see two little pockets there, the impressions. That is the two holes that are in the plaster. Let me zoom in a little. Alright, so you got one entrance is right there. The other one is right here. I'm going to do this the way I used to. Normally I would use a tapered sprue. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to cut two cylindrical holes. There's not going to be any taper to it. And I'm going to have some people, and you could have the now I'll show you something that I used to do, and it worked great, and I never had complaints. You can get away with doing it like this, with the exception that you cut a tapered depth, right? So this is going to be the same width as far as projection goes. But if you could visualize that in 3D, and we'll go ahead and make, you know what, let's make this one our vent. We'll go ahead and go down with it just to help keep it hotter longer. Alright, so now over here, so we're going to feed in here. Now look how I'm tapering up on the runner. I don't have a tapered sprue, but I do have a tapered runner. You see how that squeezes down right as it gets to this point? But anyway, this is going to be our pouring basin right here. And I'm going to put my cup, my actual basin, I'm going to put it right here, make it a little bigger. And it's not going to take much to fill this. I'm actually going to have more iron in this basin than I am the actual casting. We'll take a look here. See this little pattern here? Yeah, okay. So it's going to go back on the pattern straight like this. So if I walk this way, yeah. Yeah, that'll put the pouring basin on this side. All right, make sure we keep the bugs out. Now we'll start on some straight edges, because I'm not going to just heat the furnace for that one little bitty casting. Good morning, my friends. Turns out the pour did not go well. There was moisture in it, and I'm going to show you all this shortly. Well, this morning is not starting off good. My cable, I don't know if you can see that or not. It has somehow gotten behind that drum. It's so dark up there, I don't know if my camera's picking up. But anyway, now I got to go get the ladder, climb up there, and try to get that cable out from the back side of it. It's wedged in between the back plate and the motor housing. So hopefully it's going to be a matter of just climbing up there and jerking it out of there with the pliers. I don't want to have to take that heavy thing down to disassemble it. Hey guys, you can see what I'm talking about now. Coiled around like snakes. I got several wraps going on behind there between that housing and the drum. So I got to get that out. Got to have my crane here to unload the conveyor below. After several hours of fighting the back side of that cable with channel lock pliers, using it as a fulcrum as I bumped that drum around an inch at a time, I finally got that thing freed up, and what caused it was the end of that hook. There was some slack in the cable, caught it, and all of a sudden it just laced around the back side of the drum. I've got too much wire on that drum. I could do with half the wire on it and raise it back up and get to using this thing. Alright, so in this particular mold, remember we've got a block of plaster in there. I want to try to be careful not to have plaster all in my sand. Well, I definitely am shocked to see this is all intact. Yeah. Well, let's take it and put it on the hammer and see what we got. Alright, so we're going to start by taking this foil tape off, and I'm going to see if this thing will just come apart. And it doesn't, so that is a good sign. Volcanic eruption, and there must have been a lot of moisture in this plaster that I thought I got out and I didn't, and it could have reabsorbed it from the sand itself, right? So let's see if I can wiggle this off. I see movement. That's not going to work. All right. Okay. The finish. Let me get my wire brush. The finish is horrific, and it's because of all the moisture. That is by far the ugliest casting I have ever made. Oh, that is Wow. Well, I'm not going to worry about that. I mean, my. Alright guys, well, what I'm going to do here, I am going to go ahead and put this video out there. Amazing. Yeah, I've never done one like that before. Never have I had a result like that. Super light. Keep in mind, this was an experiment, and I didn't quite go by a recipe. My buddy Wes French, he gave me a recipe years ago to go by, and I just kind of went, you know, by feel. The good thing is I still have the rubber mold that I'm going to be able to recast another plaster block in. I've got to pay attention to the right ratio here when I get ready to remix it. Also, I've got to make sure this thing is completely dry out of the kiln and straight into the mold as soon as I get ready to pour. So we will try this again, and I'm going to go back to the book and make sure we follow the instructions like I was supposed to begin with. Good thing is, you'll get to see how I'm going to mold it this time in the plaster. Well guys, in the upcoming part of this clip that you're going to see, there's been some change of plans. We are going to go ahead and produce a split pattern with a core print to hurry up and get Ray this job. I have somebody helping me get the cloud data off of the interior of that box, and from there we're going to send it to Keith Rucker, and he's going to print it in a 3D resin print for me, where we can hurry up and knock this out and get Ray on his way. This particular camera you're looking at is a 3D scanning camera. I'm not going to tell you too much about it because, as if I haven't said, I have two guys here in the Mississippi area that I want to work with in the future that'll be able to help me out, and I believe we'll be able to help them as well. And I wanted to save all that for that particular video, which will be coming up soon. The eagle in the background was sent to me by the Oklahoma Firefighters Museum in Oklahoma City. We're going to be casting some eagles for them off of that, but we need to scan that surface, make it bigger to make a pattern with in order to accommodate for the shrinkage rate on the next cast, to get it as close to that as possible, along with a hat ring that I've also got there that you can't see at this point for Miss Mary Landrum Pyron, which is a hatter here in Mississippi I'm helping with on a project she's got going on. For those who have been asking about the Windy Hill Foundry hats, these are now available on my website, windyhillfoundry.com, under stores, or you can click on the above link. These are on the pricey side, but keep in mind the shipping is included. Have a good day.